Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, today's episode, it's no surprise here. We like credit cards and bank promotions. There's a channel dedicated to each of them and a website, and that's likely why you're here too. We also know that there's a whole group of folks out there who really don't like credit cards for one reason or another. Generally, it's financial responsibility, this, that, and the other. However, I've been thinking about it. I believe that the anti-credit card folks' arguments actually in a roundabout way prove the importance of credit cards in any financial strategy. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So of course, if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, as we do these conversation episodes, I'd love your thoughts down below as we go. So again, no surprise here. We use credit cards to generate money. I look at it as income. My goal for credit cards is always a minimum of $5,000 earned per year, and that's defined as, of course, not paying any interest. I do subtract the annual fees, of course. If I have to deal with coupons, I'll try to add them in accordingly. But $5,000, oftentimes it ends up being more than that because you can hit a high intro offer. Again, you're no stranger. On the bank promotion side, my goal is $10,000 of bank's money through checking, savings, brokerage bonuses, you name it. Same rules apply. Again, and it's just used by hitting intro offers, maximizing your multipliers in your spend categories, and being a degenerate and opening up a bunch of different accounts. Now, the other side. Now, I don't really want to make this like an anti-Dave Ramsey video. There's enough of those out there trying to grab attention off of another man's name, and I don't really love that. But at the same time, he's the most well-known person, so, I mean, tip of the cap to him and what he's doing. But he's the most well-known, so we'll probably use that as example, but it's not really an anti-Dave Ramsey video. I actually agree with a lot of stuff, more stuff than you would think probably, that they come up with. And they're known as being the anti-credit card people, and they have their whole system in place. You don't need to use a credit card, but their system is more so around building wealth and wealth generation. And I do believe, like I said, there's something to it. So we're not here to crush them. But if you're not familiar with the show, and I'll admit, I see clips way more than the full show. I find clips funny, just like the Caleb Hammer guy. I find clips funny. I don't know if I want to watch the whole show, but there's one big thing when they don't say that I think they're missing that will really help their argument. So that their whole program is structured in a way that you don't have to have any smarts or talent to do it, which is good because it's for the masses. And so the whole thesis of this is credit cards are for average talentless hacks like myself. Because I have no talent, because I'm just average, earning money from credit cards and bank promotions is that much more important to my yearly earnings goal. Let me explain now that we have my premise, my statement out of the way. So if you look at their program, the credit cards will come a little bit later, but there'll be chapters, tools down below. But again, if I cherry pick through, their program and others who have said, hey, credit cards are bad. The reason I say it's for simple, it's made to automate it, that anyone can do it, is if you look at it in no particular order, they'll say what? The best source of wealth building you have is your W-2 income, which means get a job that pays you money, a salary every other week, and there you go. And I would agree with that. Why? Because, well, look at this channel. Like, yes, I can start a channel, but, I'm glad everyone here is watching, but we know the view count shows all, and, again, a bad video for me is about 1,000, 1,500. Average day is about 2,500. Really good ones pushing 5,000, but I've never gone over, I don't have ever heard a single video go over 100,000. Ever, and the ones that have gotten to the 50 and 60 mark have been over a number of years. So that's average, not a ton of talent, but average, right? So it would be significantly easier for me to build income getting a real job. That's why I have a real job, and I just do this because I like talking about credit cards, and it's additional money, right? So we would agree there. Again, the thing being, if you were more talented than you'd be pulling in way more views like some of my colleagues. You'd build an app, build a website that people go to. You'd have other options besides just a W-2 deal, right? Dollar cost averaging, when they say get your money and invest it, that just says you invest the same amount in the market no matter what's going on. So whether we're on a crazy run or we're bombing somebody in the desert again, it doesn't matter. You do $500 a month, whatever you've decided. Why? Because that takes out the skill of having to try to anticipate what markets are going to do, understand all that. You just, no matter what, over time, it will average out. You don't care about the ups and downs, just very steady. Proven to work. But again, no talent to auto set a $500 a month transaction or whatever you want. Now they push mutual funds. I'm never really sure why, because mutual funds generally have like a little bit of a management fee. I don't know why they just don't go index funds, but again, the same thing. Instead of trying to figure out if the SpaceX IPO is for real or not and having to be a stock analyst, just invest in things that track the S&P 500, for example, and over time it's been proven to work. No talent, just pick your one ticker symbol. Again, I go VTI, but you do whatever you want. Same thing, no skill. I'll give you two more. Obviously, the big credit card one is no interest payments. Most of us, again, our biggest source of income is that W-2 job, and you have enough bills already, like utilities and mortgage and rent and things like that. You really can't be giving that much up to Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Citi in interest. That's lost money for likely no value in return. That's a big one. And the last one is if you wanted to generate more money, well, what do they recommend? They recommend jobs that, again, we're at risk of being insulting here, but like low skill jobs. So they say get on the apps, go do DoorDash, go do Lyft, go do Uber, things like that. I know those guys are always complaining they want more money, but again, like we let 16-year-old kids drive. You'll send your 16-year-old to the grocery store with your credit card to bring home a few items. If a 16-year-old can do it, I don't see how much money you plan to actually make doing it, but it's a way to get more money. Doesn't take any skill. For the longest time, it's been a knock on those services that they'll take anyone, right? Okay, so as you can see, I kind of sped run that for time, but all the things that I'm not going to say all because I haven't seen every single clip, but many of the things they recommend are because I don't have any skills or talents, so I keep it basic. But credit cards are one of the basic, most throwaway products in finance, and I know people can get jammed up with them, but when you think about it, as someone who's been on the institution side since 2013 in one form or another, it's stated income at the application. Stated income means you just write in a number and we take it. Now, there are some things going on the back end, I'm sure they kind of adjust accordingly. So you just can't write $1 million or something stupid, but we don't check. Versus if you were going to get a mortgage, yeah, you got to turn in pay stubs, right? They call and verify your employment, or they check their sites that will help them verify your employment. Don't do any of that. Credit cards also, it's money that you have reasonable access to. I don't believe you can do reasonable access to a car loan. It's been a long time since I had a car loan, or mortgage. You definitely can't do reasonable access to. Either that person's on the loan with you or they're not. It's not. So it just, again, you can get jammed up, but at the same time, I think that's more of a problem with the person. The product that sells, the banks don't really take that seriously, and you can use it. You can get a lot of cards, as I've shown over the years. You see my wallet with all the cards, trying to optimize everything we have. I keep it right over here, luckily. No skill to sign up for these. It also takes no skill to go to the grocery store and hand them my AAA Daily Advantage card right there and get 5% back or off my groceries. It's no skill at all. So the credit cards actually fit with everything else we just covered of low skill, really low barrier to entry, low effort. And it would be the exact same for bank promotions as well. There might be a little bit more work, but again, you have to set up a direct deposit at your job. If you want to tell me you can't do like the lofty savings bonuses, okay, fine. But at the same time, you have to get paid. How much effort is it really to go in and change your direct deposit every 2 weeks, every month, whatever it might be? Really not that much work at all. It seems like a lot, but it's really not. Credit cards, again, how much work is it to put in my Sapphire Reserve business, and anytime as I hit an intro offer, use it when I'm checking out or buying stuff? It's really not that hard. I have to do that anyways. Now you can even go a little bit further and add in steps. I've got labels on some of those cards. You can set and forget. You can put them in your Apple Wallet, your Google Wallet, what have you, to make it easier. But again, there's no effort in what I do. I'd love to sit here and tell you I was super talented and I figured it out. You guys should buy my course so I can tell you how to do it as well. But all I did, the same thing you guys do, is go through what's my highest spend category. Okay, let me find a credit card that matches that. I like cash back. I don't want an annual fee. Okay, groceries, the best I can do is the AAA Daily Advantage. Done. Wasn't that hard. People on YouTube will tell you how to do that part. And again, those are cards that I don't even have links. I don't think I have links for any cards anymore. But again, you get the point. So I think last year I did about $9,000 in credit cards between intro offers and points, about 11, I want to say, in bank promotions. I'll put it up for you. So, again, that's extra money in their world. Again, usually they're focused on paying off debt. So if you want to, I'll go back the other way a little bit. If you want to tell me, like, hey, we're going to take a pause on cards while we pay down all of the debt and we try to build up, principles and discipline and things of that nature, I would definitely understand that. I also understand, like, if someone called in my radio show every day and like, hey, I'm 30 grand in debt, what do I do? And then most of it's for Visa or MasterCard. Yeah, I would understand it as well. But I think once folks have moved out of that and they've presumably picked up discipline as we went, you're leaving money on the table, which again is the entire premise of the second channel, making the bank's money our money. And so in a roundabout way, because they've never come out and directly said, hey, our program is for average talentless hacks, which would probably be a bit mean and a bit harsh to say. So I'm just making it about me, and you can tell me how talented or untalented you are in the comments. But to come out and say that was probably a bit harsh, so they're not going to say that. But to me, that's really what I hear, and that's the missing piece of the program. And again, like I said, I agree with a lot of stuff. I agree with the W-2 is your best way. Simple investing, again, I told you on BTI and Shill, no interest, agree on that. Don't even love the annual fee cards. So I agree with all that. I am actively working to pay my house off early. That's one of their big things too. So, again, it's why I didn't want to brand this as like, oh my gosh, they're awful. It's just more so they're the most famous out there. And I do think that argument proves that credit cards can be a useful tool, and them just kind of glossing over it or saying absolutely not is leaving on the money on the table. It would be significantly more work. It would be fun to see someone doing a regular job and then doing the apps, DoorDash and whatnot for a year versus someone who only churned bank promotions. And if we could even kind of limit it so everyone's using the same level of direct deposit, so it's not like, oh, I had 100 grand to throw in these savings account offers. I bet you can make more money doing this than you could on the apps in a year, unless you were just hardcore solely focused on them. But if you're talking about having a real job plus doing that on the side, I'm going to bet this would make more money. And plus, if you really wanted to, you could still do this and do your apps if you wanted to. So anyways, that is the discussion for today. I submit to you that credit cards, bank promotions are for average talentless hacks like myself, and they actually do complement the wealth generation, wealth building strategies a lot more than some folks on the internet would say. They're kind of skipping over, leaving out a tool, making it a little harder than it needs to be when there's so much free money, as we've proven, out there to get. So with that, I'll turn it over to you. Surely you've got enough talent to leave a comment and press the thumbs up button, right? I would hope so. I really do. It helps. But anyhow, I would love to get your thoughts on that as well, that assessment of their strategy, on my thought process as well. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Love to hear your thoughts. But anyways, guys, that'll do it for this one. So, of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, because we're posting content just like this every single week. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And, of course, every single day over on Profitable.content.com. The channel's blogs always linked down below for you, as well as on the channel homepage. We have the best, latest news stories, bank promotions, and on occasion some card offers if you want to get started as well. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and talk to you very soon in the next one.